I've had my Suzuki V-Strom 800DE for going on a year now, and I've done all types of riding on it, and I really like the bike. It is a true all-rounder. It's not perfect though, and there are some things I think Suzuki need to change when they update the 800DE. G'day everyone, my name is Curtis and welcome to an On The Back Wheel video. Did you know that less than 10% of people watching this video are subscribers? If you're one of those 90+%, please click that subscribe button. It really helps grow the channel. All right, let's talk about the 800DE. Now, I've done a list of 5 things I think need to be improved on the Suzuki V-Strom 800DE. And the first thing is it needs stiffer suspension. It's too softly suspended, both front and rear. Riding off-road, even moderate hits on the front will bottom it right out and you get metal on metal. The rear isn't too bad, but it's also too softly suspended. Now, I have the preload cranked pretty much all the way in, and you can see, even just doing that, how much movement there is on the bike. It's just too softly suspended. And to combat that, what you do is you add compression and you add preload, both front and rear. And unfortunately, when you do that, you lose compliance. So if they were just to add some stiffer springs on this bike, even for a lighter rider, it would work really well. You could just adjust it out a little bit if you need to, then adjust it in if you're someone who's about my size, about 90 kilos. And it's a shame because it does have very good suspension. Now, the next thing that needs to be updated on the 800DE and the 800 is it needs cruise control. I have no idea why it doesn't. It has everything else. You know, it's got a quick shifter, traction control, adjustable engine maps, is ride-by-wire, so it's all there to do. But for some reason, they haven't done it. The only reasons I can think of is one, price, but it wouldn't cost that much. I mean, it's all there to do, and why not add as an optional accessory for like $200 or something like that? And the big reason I think is because they don't want to step on the 1050 XT's toes. They want to keep that as the main touring bike in the V-Strom family. Now, the next thing I'd like to see changed on the V-Strom 800 is this charge port here. You can see it sticks out at a right angle, and this is just asking for trouble. You see here my cable. This is for the GPS unit I've got mounted at the moment. There's just nowhere for it to hide. It's stuck out there. It's just asking for trouble. A stray stick or something is just going to grab that one day. Now, usually I got my phone hooked up to there charging, but even then, I don't know how it hasn't caught on anything yet. So where I'd like to see it moved is somewhere on the front, maybe down here or here, pointing towards us, or even in an upwards position, so it's just tucked out of the way. To alleviate that, you could put a right angle USB here, but look, you shouldn't have to do it. And if you do, they should be supplying one. So I'd like to see that moved. Here's something a bit obscure. I think the V-Strom needs an 18-inch rear wheel. Now, a lot of people don't think that's an issue. It does run a 150/70/17, which gives a pretty good range of tires, but I think you should be running a 140/80/18 on the back. That gives you a lot more variety, some more off-road focused tires. I mean, this is their most off-road focused model, so why not go all out and put an 18-inch wheel on the back? With an 18, you're gonna get that little bit more ground clearance. As I said, greater tire variety. And I also find that 18s are easier to ride off-road. It's easy to get over obstacles. And for me, I find they get that little bit more bite. I don't know whether it's the size of the tire or the height, but I find it's easier to lift the front and get them over obstacles as well. The last thing I want to mention is the weight. I think the V-Strom 800DE is about 10 kilograms too heavy. Yes, it does hide its weight well when you're on the move. It's quite a nice handling bike, very neutral, but the fact is the competition weighs less. Let's look at the BMW F900, for example. It's rocking about 230 kilograms of its larger capacity and absolutely full of tech. The KTM 890 is lighter. The Transalp 750, much lighter, and that's pretty much direct competition for this bike. Look, I think this needs to be about 10 kilograms lighter, and you can see where the weight really has gone in some respects. I mean, this subframe is an absolute tank. Yes, it's great if you've got a really fat missus and you like to carry the kitchen sink when you're riding two up, but it's overkill. And then other things like, look at the back of this. There's about 1 kilogram just sitting there, let alone the engine. which is just completely overbuilt. It's an absolute tank and it's so chunky, and the steel they've used on that is just a big unit. Some of this is fantastic. The bike's overbuilt. You know this thing is going to last, but when the competition is that bit heavier, I think it should be lighter. And even just pushing the bike around the garage, it is a real handful. So I'd like to see them drop the weight on the 800DE. And here's the thing, Suzuki have already got the 650. That's a really good all-rounder, kind of your softer adventure bike. Then they've got the 1050, righto cockatoo. The 1050 is kind of your do-it-all, big mile-eater, gravel, dirt, it'll crush it. If they were to lessen the weight in this, add an 18-inch rear wheel, and the other things I've mentioned, it's kind of going to be more your off-road focused bike. It's going to be something a little bit different from those. At the moment, it's a very good all-rounder, but I think it could be great. So what do you think about the big Suzuki 800DE? Are there some things you'd like to see changed on the bike? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't, make sure you click that subscribe button. I've got some reviews coming up, Husky 701 and a few other bikes, so make sure you subscribe to see those. All right, keep it on the back wheel. Catches.